I believe Mark Rain has revealed a massive secret for Chapter 7 Season 1 in this really apparent harmless name of dodecahedron. That is his one word for the season, and I think from that we can actually work out one of the main plot points for this season, or at least where this guy might actually be. This cube adjacent, possibly Last Reality member, maybe the Corrupted Seven, but maybe just a Last Reality handler, a spy, a warrior of the Last Reality. We're not entirely sure what he is, but I may have a theory of where he currently is. Now, dodecahedron is a 12-faced polyhedra with 13 sides, or something along the lines of them. It's been a while since I've done maths, so Mark Rain's word for this first season of Chapter 7 references this 3D shape, a dodecahedron, Fortnite version of the Las Vegas sphere, must have an important meaning. So apparently this is a dodecahedron, which has a number of sides and is obviously a 3D shape. It's also, actually funny enough, a Platonic solid as well, which are very specific shapes in geometry. And one geometry thing would actually be very much associated with this guy's possible leaders, or leader, he might be the leader, is the Last Reality. So the Last Reality's logo is essentially a geometric shape or sacred geometry. It is actually very similar, if you discard, I guess, the outer ring, it's very similar to the Metatron's cube, which is a sacred geometry shape that can contain many Platonic solids, like essentially a cube. A cubes that we have seen around Fortnite for a while. Now, I did a communities video a few days ago where Corruption Sci-Fi said cube out of Chrome. This is to add on to Jay's theory. Now, I have a theory that if you watch the Chapter 3 Season 4 trailer, you will see this thing. I've got to make sure my camera's not in the way, it kind of is in the way. Which is this thing here, which is the chemical structure of chromium. And if you overlay the Last Reality logo, it will kind of match the points, essentially, of this logo. Which is interesting, because that's essentially how the Metatron cube works, in that you can trace 3D shapes in 2D forms. Which essentially are these bad boys. And then we've got other shapes that can also be drawn. But as you can notice, as you should be able to tell, it's very similar to the Last Reality logo, which I have always said. I actually kind of have another theory. So the other thing about chemical structures is that chemical structures have cubic structures, essentially. So essentially, they will have this associated to them as a chemical structure. They will either have more of these or less of these. And essentially, so chromium is a real life element, but I guess it's slightly different in terms of Fortnite. But if you follow the path, you have a elemental compound which looks like the Last Reality logo, which essentially has a bunch of cubes, which a cube itself would be a element which would have a cubic structure as well, which then also looks like the Last Reality logo, which I said at one point, if you make this 2D logo a 3D shape, it would be essentially a cube with, I guess, this floating sort of, I guess, a neutron maybe, or an atom maybe. But yeah, now you can also, so essentially the reason why you can trace 2D shapes here is now it has 13 circles. I believe that's why. I think it's an argued point, but that's why. And also the Last Reality logo has the same 13 points. It has 6 outer circles, essentially, 6 inner circles, as well as the middle circle that makes 13. So you could trace the cube and also now a dodecahedron, as well as the other Platonic solids. Which makes me think that the shape is actually really important now. And essentially, going off what one of my subscribers said, and the thumbnail I made for the video, essentially, morning cubes are the cubes morning cubes. And by looks of the information we have here, it's a nice theory. It sits well. Now, this guy here, sorry, you can't really see it, this guy here, the shape might actually be a Last Reality warrior, essentially a cube. The cubes are sentient. But they're funny, guys. The cubes have changed shapes. I don't know if I've already mentioned this in a recording, but essentially the cubes have changed shapes. They haven't always been cubes. Obviously they changed to water in Loot Lake, but they've also the cubes have also essentially been a diamond and other form of a shape, which I guess also may have a geometric thing to the Metatron as well. So essentially each cube shape is able to be contained in the Last Reality logo itself, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But I do think that is where he is. This guy is in the shape, and I believe an update for next season is the battle boss will be targeted, which may make us not be able to land where we want to land, which may be coming from the shape where he is inside of. And obviously, as we know from the Fortnite Mares trailer, that you can come in and out of a cube. So I think it's actually very interesting stuff. So tell me what you make of that theory. Comment it down below. Hit the like button, of course. Subscribe to the channel. Consider using code MrJoy when buying the Fortnite Battle Pass for Chapter 7. And until next time, it has been your boy, Mr. J. White. Next time, bye-bye.